you for stopping in to the Ion Esports Presents Outside the Lane with your boy King and my main man Ian Race Crown. Why?
Salutations, everybody, and how does it feel knowing that Worlds is around the corner? And you know what that means? The season is ending. The sweats, beware. The sweats
Oh
are
yeah,
coming.
the
The sweats
sweats.
are coming.
The sweats are here. What do you mean? Not even coming. The sweats showed up in full effect and full of force. Uh,
They
feel
came
free,
hard and
please.
spice.
If you want to help us out in any way, shape, or form, please just hit that like button down below. We're trying to grow and establish this channel in a way that will be, beneficial to those that are looking for entertainment, insight, and discussion when it comes to all things League of Legends. Like I said, my name's King. This is Ian, Race Crown, however you want to address your boy. And we are really about to get into it. Today's discussion, we're just going to talk about the current state of the game. End of the season, getting closer to the end of the season as far as season 12. We're currently on patch 12.17. And figure we just have a chit chat about what's going on when it comes to League of Legends.
The fun things, right?
Of course.
So, as I took notes, as we know, a lot of people feel like the player base is completely dying off. And we know the game is getting faster. We're about to we're gonna hit the Worlds patch, so we'll probably see in about 3 weeks what people are playing. People are copying from Worlds and try to play in our games, knowing they don't have the skill for it. But that's how it works out.
Well, it's not even that. You have to think they're going to be playing on a Worlds patch that's been locked in for like a month, and we're going to be like 3 patches removed. Then the nice part about, so for those of you that don't know, patch 12.18 is going to be the end of the competitive season patch. So Worlds will be played on patch 12.18. After that, they normally go back to buffing and nerfing and adjusting for solo queue play. But that's the only thing that's really, really nice about that, because the patch from patch like 15, 16, and 17 to 18 just feel like incremental changes, even though they did throw in some curveballs with the Udyr update and some changes to certain champions and roles. But that being said, 19 is always fun. 19, 20, and I think 22 is normally like the last patch. 22, 23, somewhere in that ballpark for the end of the season.
I thought it was patch 20 because that's when like patch 20 ends, and then 21 and 22 always are you finally welcome to the purgatory known as the preseason, where you can finally get to gold, but it doesn't matter.
Hey, it helps in every way it can. But with that being said, the changes to the meta currently on this patch that we are currently playing, Berserk. So there's always the statistics, and then there's the anecdotal feel of the patch. For me, I have transitioned back to playing AD carry. I was playing mid lane for the majority of the beginning of the season, doing okay. I have like a 60. I used to have almost a 70%, a 68% win rate on Akshan. Then they nerfed him into the ground, and it slowly went from 68 to 60%. So I've been able to maintain a decent win rate on Akshan, but the meta does not suit him. The game's not right. So I transitioned back to playing bot lane, occasionally playing mid lane when I feel like it or whatever. And now being an AD carry, the meta has again shifted. I was a patch too late. I should have been playing AD carry a little bit sooner, because this current AD carry patch is okay. I think the match before, the meta before was really, really fun. The Vayne, Sivers, even Ezreal to an extent, but not so much. Really, really fun. Right now, the bot lane meta, at least for AD carries, is dominated by MF, Draven, Caitlyn. I don't mind the Caitlyn. I don't generally mind MF either, but it's just like she's very, very dependent on having a strong bot lane. And when you're playing solo queue, that's not always the case. Your supports sometimes don't know what they're doing. You don't know how to read the person you're playing with, therefore you end up misplaying off of them. I truly do believe that if you're going to be a bot laner or a support player, you should duo. Just like if you're going to be a mid laner, you should probably duo with your jungler, or if you're going to be a top laner, you should duo with your jungler. You should figure out a way to min-max the game, because the game is called solo duo, not solo queue. If it was truly solo queue, that's what happens when you hit, I believe, Grandmaster to Challenger is solo queue only. So when you get to that point, then you can figure out about how you by yourself is so good or so bad. But up until then, solo duo, take advantage of whatever advantages you can get in the game.
I totally get that. I think the problem, I always said the problem for me is League of Legends. As much as we get rewarded for our individualism, it still doesn't. At times, it still feels like it's like 10 people playing 10 1v1s going on. There's like 5 sets of 1v1s going on, and everyone is either fighting the other side of the 1v1 or they're just fighting each other. So it kind of gets to the point where it doesn't get fun. I started tricking Seraphine bot because it fit my play style. It fit my play. It fit the comfort that I love doing. It gave me some agency, but the problem always was I don't play aggressive enough to make the pick work. I can play. I pull stuff out of my butt, but when people are not trolling me and picking picking an 80 carry or trolling me completely out of the role, force me to play support with it, which it feels really uncomfortable because the fact that when I'm playing 80 carries, like I know what I'm doing. I know exactly. I'm trying to maximize farm, shove you down, punch you in a position where you're deliver the half health, but I'm also controlling wave, where I'm playing support is just kind of weird for me, and it's like it's a mental thing for me. But my biggest is the issue that we're coming across, and I figure we'll go in more detail about it. The biggest issue I'm having is the fact that I'm hitting plateaus when I'm not dueling with King. We can run all 4 or 5 games in a row. I can win 2 or 3 of them, but due to being so far in the win and loss column, the games I lose impact me worse than the games I win. I got demoted after going 2-1 and 2-1, but when I lost 2 games. When I lost my game, I lost 2 games in a row. Got demoted after going 2-1 the night before. But because I'm losing so much LP per game, it's almost like if I'm not dueling or paying someone to boost my account up, I'm losing.
So I would say realistically that comes from an issue that came from Riot. I feel like Riot is petty. That's the best way to put it. I think Riot Games is petty to an extent. People for the longest time complained about Riot and to Riot about how climbing in League of Legends felt bad, right? Because before the changes, the way climbing used to work is you would hit 100 LP, and then you had to play a best of 3 series to climb between divisions, and then you had to play a best of 5 series to climb between ranks, right?
Yep.
And people would, realistically, I think I might have even made the comment before myself that like the game is balanced around keeping people at a 50% win rate. And now you're asking them to have a 66% win rate, right? So if League of Legends was a perfect game, was like mathematically perfect, what would end up happening is for you to climb, you have to play so many games because you would win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. But every win would be like plus 15 LP, and every loss would be like minus 13 or minus 14 LP. You would climb, but it would take you forever, right? But that's not how the system works. The system works, you win like 2 or 3 in a row, you lose like 1 or 2, then you'll win like 1, and you'll lose like 5, and you'll win like 3, you lose like 1, and it all at the end kind of like balances out or washes out to around 50% if you're an average player. If you're a good player, you can get that to like 55%. If you're an excellent player, you can get to like high 50s, almost 60. And if you're actually just smurfing, if like you're just really good at this game, if you're like what's his name, TF Blade, right, where you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to Challenger and only lose like 2 games from Iron to Challenger, right? So someone like TF Blade or whatever, or other climb hounds that do those unranked to challengers with 80%, 90% win rates and all that other stuff, they're playing a different game. So, but what ended up happening was Riot decided, or people complained enough about having to win the mini best of 3 in their climb, and Riot said, okay, to make it better for you guys, we are going to remove the best of 3 climb and now you're just going to have to when you move up, you move up for you hit 100, you hit 100 LP, you move up. There's no more tournament, you move up. But normally what would happen, right, is back then you won your best of 3, you moved up. Now if you moved up and you lost like 2 or 3 or even 4 games because your MMR was higher than your current LP standing, you would go down to 0 LP, but you could lose 1, 2, sometimes even 3 games with 0 LP and not get demoted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, if you get promoted, you normally get promoted and you get like between like 1 and 5, I think, LP. Because I've been promoted from like having 99 LP, winning the match to go over 100, and then only having 4, which is doesn't make any sense. I should be at like 16 LP, right? But whatever. I've crossed the threshold. But effectively, all that does is it gives you a 1 game buffer. Because if you have 4 LP and you lose, you go down to 0. And then it's do or die. And then if you lose at 0, they don't knock you back down 15 LP. They knock you back down generally 25, which means you have to win the next 2. So they've effectively given you the best of 3, but they've just like masked it in a really, really frustrating up and down on the climb. Like for me, I'd much rather be like, okay, the pressure's on me. I gotta show out for these 2 games, 3 games, and and do what I gotta do and win this out. Versus, yay, I won my game and now I've climbed. And then like the next 2 games, inevitably get a team that's dog water and terrible, and then be right back where I was in a worse position. Because it really does feel like it's a waste of time. And that's the frustrating part about climbing in League of Legends ranked solo duo queue when you're not like again not an all-star, but you're just playing the game because you want to have a competitive outlet, but also have fun in something that you like have invested time into and learning and understanding.
Which leads us to a point where I was just finished talking to a group of friends that my friend Sam, who we used to call terms back in the day, and like a lot of people, this is where a lot where from her base her friend circle, a lot of them quit playing League. They shifted to playing like the city builder, world builders, the Stardew Valleys of the world.
Yeah.
And I think my camera just went out.
Oh, it did. Why is it just
Like
showing like a random green?
the classic Ian's camera. It happens.
It's
Every time.
happening.
Happens
It's
every time.
happening.
Happens every time.
Okay.
But this is the classic. I quit. I quit playing. I don't have time for this. And it's because probably because League is not a game. You get instant gratification somewhat. Like when you win, you feel great, but when you lose, you feel like crap. And then if you're playing ranked, it's like I'm sorry. In the words of League, still a phrase we use in 2K. You put your insert game here in the middle of my gambling simulator. Why we say that? Because we say that because the fact that the algorithm that 2K uses sometimes to match make you is also infused by how much money you did or did not spend.
Well,
So you be on a win streak and then get screwed over because you get matched with somebody else, and then because you got beat by that build, you then go back to go spend more money after you spent $50. Since you spent base game plus the VC to get there, plus the other VC you also have to earn. You earned and got there.
I feel like you're on a bit of a tangent about not having a good time. Let's bring it on home because I'm confused about how pay to win game versus like League of Legends. I think I understand that you're gambling in my insert game. I think I get that.
Yes, because that's what it feels. No, that's what rank feels like. Because if you're going there and you're somebody unlike you who unlike the Tims of the world, the U's of the world. If you're like me, some of you are, most of you get carried. Let's call it what it is. There's 3 types of players in the league. The people wear the backpack, the people are in the backpack, and the people who just throw rocks at everybody because they're just there.
The people that throw the backpack into the campfire.
Full of gas. with gasoline in it.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, you get carried. You don't. Some of us just get carried. Now we do things that can help proceed the game, but we look at the game from a there's no I in team, where some people look at the I and A look they look for the I and the a hole. Remember, you don't want to be the a hole.
You don't.
Anyway, it's a shout out to Sky Williams. Thank you for pointing that out. Thanks, Sky. Anyway,
This is not an endorsement of Sky Williams or anything that he may or may not be accused of in any house that he may or may not have been the owner of at any point in time during his formal Smash Bros. Timeline. The lawyers told me to say that.
But thank you, thank you, legalese. Anyway, my point there is this:
Sky Williams used to be my boy. I'm not going to front. I used to watch every single one of his videos, but we ain't gonna get into some Sky Williams dilemmas.
Yeah, but my point being is the fact.
I just hope he's in a good mental place. Let me just put it that way. I hope he's in a good spiritual place, like, good mental place. But go on.
But the issue that we just run across is the fact that for most of that, those in the backpack point. A lot of it just sucks when you may duel with somebody who normally puts you in the backpack, or you single handedly, you both are the straps on the backpack, so you hold your weight together. But when you're apart, the system thinks you're good enough to carry people who don't see the game, and because there's certain features that are available for pre-made versus random made, it sometimes feels like you're fighting up a creek without a paddle, and your paddle was never in the boat, and you're just going down rapids without a paddle.
Now,
and when you finally
go ahead.
When you finally think you made it out, you're just about to drop down the waterfall.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, I think the greatest lie that competitive gaming, especially when structured like League of Legends, ever told was the whole you have to solo carry yourselves. They made supporting and they made being a role player feel or seem like a negative. And I think because that's been almost like stigmatized in the community, everyone wants to carry, right? There are seldom a few handful of people. I will say the majority. I shouldn't say everyone. The majority, and when I say the majority, I mean the heavy majority. I'll go as far to say 90%, 95% of League of Legends player base, because it has a huge player base, right? So 95% of League of Legends player base have that same mentality: how to carry yourself out of blah 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 elo. We've been hearing it literally for a decade now. In pro guides, Game Leap, what's the other one? Skill Cap, and a bunch of others that have come and gone.
Don't forget your handy dandy Tyler ones.
I was gonna say your streamers and your educational YouTubers and individual YouTubers that have grown platforms on how to solo carry, how I carried myself out of my 100 games to Diamond series and all this other stuff, right? ABCD champions, and have told players, one, that the most important role or the most important part of this game is the ranked part of this game. I think it's really, really weird that League of Legends is a 5-on-5 team-based game, but we live and breathe and die by who's the best at playing a team game by themselves. And I've only further gone down my own rabbit hole of this creation and going, when I watch players on professional teams where they're able to mold the way the team plays and figure out the meta and understand the game, there are teams that are able, especially when all the teams are on a similar level, that are just leaps and bounds ahead. That's an oxymoron. So like a team like Fnatic, a team like SKT, a team like Cloud9, these are teams that are able to, within the rules and parameters of professional play, of being the same 5 players with voice comms and understanding and training of the game, can go on undefeated runs. They can have perfect seasons, time and time and time, well, not time and time and time again, but individually, each deliver a perfect season, whether it's 10 game season, whether it's an 18 game season, 21, 22 game season. They're able to deliver perfect seasons because, and that's 100% win rate. And even teams that aren't those teams that do really, really well, they're able to have 98, 95% win rates. But the game itself, when it comes to solo duo, is doing its best to keep you at a 50% win rate. There's something inherently confusing to me about that we hyper focus on the mode that's made to actually be like less fun. We should all be playing like flex. I think because it's hard to find 5 people that can all dedicate like, oh hey, we're all gonna hang out and play 2 hours, 3 hours of games together or something like that, where it's just easier to be like, oh, me and my duo. Oh, I'm doing with these people or whatever, right?
Not to mention that your flex, it's part of your flex, your flex skill level based upon your solo skill levels is like yippee, right? Like,
I mean, I look at Flex and Clash similarly, where like the problem with Clash is unless you actually have a dedicated team that's gonna like where we play together all the time, we're gonna win our Clash tournament. You normally it's like 2 or 3 people that generally play together every now and again. One rando that like they brought on because they're friends of a friend of a friend or they're on their friends list or something like that, and then like somebody else who's just like bad, right? And it's like, oh, who can you play? Oh, well, I have a trillion games on Teemo and I can't play anything else. Teemo gets banned. I guess I can play, and then literally for no reason, the person who only has ever played Teemo in their entire life, instead of picking another range 80 carry or a range top lane or something like that, will be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna play Wukong. I'm gonna play Set. You don't have set mechanics. You don't even know how the champion actually works. Yeah, it can't be that hard, and then you end up losing. Or like, oh, let's do this composition. Let's figure out how we can play a team fight composition. But oh, I don't play that champion. Oh, I don't know how to play that champion. Or even if everybody is on the right champions, let's call it a ball comp or a protect comp or something like that. They don't know how to shield. They know how to peel. They know how to anticipate CC to be able to stop engagement or turn when they're on champions that aren't your Camille's, your Aatrox, your Yasuo's, your whatever, right? It's like because people are so hyper valued, or the game has pushed people into this state where they hyper value uh, the individual drive to try to carry and all this other stuff. They lose sight of the fact that it's like actually a team game. It'd be like playing a basketball game where you're the only person on the court. Now, yeah, we have all-stars. You have people that, shine, and that's because their team enables them to be that. Like, there's never been a team in the NBA, or there's never been a team on the soccer field or football field that's just been one person winning the game by themselves. But yet and still, our focus when it comes to League of Legends is to turn a team game into a solo carry phenomenon. That's just not what the game is. It's just not what the game is. At best, you need 4 good players because the way the game is structured, your weakest link can literally lose you a game. You have a jungler that is tilted and it's just split pushing in the bot lane, and now the 4 of you are trying to take Baron, and the enemy jungler bounces over the wall, smites Baron, and now the 5 of them have Baron, and your jungler is still just split pushing bot, gets nothing accomplished, gets nothing done. Your team gets 4 loses, maybe not a clean ace, so maybe it's 4 for 1, and they just push it down. They just push it down mid. Your jungler recalls, blames you for doing dragon, and it's just like, is this really the game that we're playing? Versus having 5 people on comms and saying, hey, our top laner who has teleport is going to split push bot lane. We're going to bait them into this choke point, and then we're going to hit them with a Seraphine ult. We're going to hit them with Gwen ult. We're going to hit them with Kennen ult, and we're going to have Sivir just raining her ricochets throughout the entire fight, right? That doesn't happen because, again, we focus on these solo plays. Oh, the jungler jumped in. The jungler jumped in and stole that Baron. Oh my god, this jungler's OP. This jungler's so great. Oh my god, they made the plays. Why was the jungler in that position where they had to do that? Why wasn't the entire team on the same page to go forward and play together and win as a team? Because that's not how the game is structured. That's not the focus of League of Legends, or at least the League of Legends that we've played for the last decade.
It's almost like the COD mentality of it. Is a COD mentality of a team deathmatch, or like that? Because you've seen a lot of rise, things like the rise of the battle royale.
Hmm?
You have that route where it's like, you know what, I can just straight up it's my agency. I'm the star show. We call it we leaves call it the classic male male anime protagonist syndrome.
Yeah.
Or female protagonist syndrome. Was it
Anime, the main character syndrome.
Syndrome.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit. Give me, I am a carry player, right? I play AD carry, like I said. I played AD carry. I back to playing AD carry. I played mid when I played mid. I was basically playing AD carries in the mid lane with Teen, Akshan, Lucian, Graves, Jace. At the end of the day, I still understand that being the carry is my role on the team. That doesn't make me better than other people on the team. That doesn't make me. The only thing that means is that I have a job to do. I have a job to do, and I have to understand what I have to do to get to that job. And other people have to play their roles. They have to do their job to get me to the point where I can do my job, right? And that's the whole basis of AD carry. But I think a lot of AD carries get in their head. They're like, I'm the carry. I'm the best player. I'm the one that's going to carry this game and win out. And if you don't do this and do that, you're all peons. And it's like, bro, that's not how the game actually works. You're actually dumb as fuck. Sorry to swear, but you're just super dumb if you think that
mistake, sir. You have you were guessing.
You were wrong. You were wrong. But seriously, it's like a long time ago. I used to be able to analyze League of Legends kind of in a way where it was like the support carried the AD through lane. The jungler carried the mid laner through lane. Top lane was more or less an island of who was either the better mechanically or the smarter player when it came to wave manipulation. And then there were baton handoff portions where the support handed off the baton. That was the support in jungler, or the support handed off the baton to the mid laner. And the mid laner hit their 6, hit their 8, whatever they need to do, and were devastating on the map. But then at some point, if the game went long enough, the mid laner then had to hand the baton off to the AD carry and the top laner. So that would give the top laners room to split push or to engage or whatever type of champion they're on. And the AD carry to carry the team fights while everyone peeled for them. Now it feels like when you hop in a game, your support wants to be the carry. Your AD carry wants to be the carry. Your jungler wants to be the carry. Top laner thinks they're the carry. And the mid laner thinks they're the main character of the anime. If you have 5 people trying to carry in a game that has literally defined roles, support, bot, mid, jungle, top. Within those roles, you have sub roles that kind of like Vanguard and Wardens and all this other stuff, right? And assassins and mages and marksmen. And then within those roles, you get even further, whether you're like an enchanter support or an engage support or a fighter support or a burst support,
carry, anti-carry, damage support, anti
AP carry, right? So there's so many roles. When you really start to break it down, you start to go, if you're really thinking about the best way to win this game, you have to look at it from a team point of view. The games that I've won most recently, I kind of brain hack people in champ select. Like, I'll ask, oh, hey, is it cool if I pick your champion for you? I'm looking to play. And then they'll be like, yeah, who you want? And I'll say, well, I'm trying to read the composition they have. And I think doing just little things like that make people take a second to go, oh, wow, maybe I just shouldn't like cookie cutter play the same way every game. Maybe I just shouldn't look at pro guides. And when they gave me this, oh, maybe I just shouldn't look at whatever Blitz is giving me. I should look up some stats on op.gg or LoLlytics. I should look up a bunch of different analytics websites and try to figure out what's the best for the game that I'm in. A lot of people want to play cookie cutter to the game that
Want to be.
yeah, the game that they want to be in versus the game that they're in.
Also, let us throw this disclaimer out there. Never, ever trust pro guides to win you games.
Wait, what if we want a Pro Guides sponsorship in the future, and you're out here slandering them? I know I'm the one with the series Never Trust Pro Guides, but you're slandering them right now.
The words being the fact that there is always take pro guys with a words, always take the guys with a heavy. I think this is hint of salt, grain of salt.
The term is grain of salt, but if you're doing a heavy, it'd be a spoon of salt, scoop of salt, Veruca salt. Shout out to Willy Wonka.
This is my point. Is you always take it with a heavy grain of salt, because the fact that these are generally situations that you may not actually find yourself in. They may apply. These champions could work, but you also gotta remember what game you're in. For a silver player, yes, playing silver, playing Seraphine bot is a great way to play the game. Now, for most people, that is a great pick. I have a 51% win rate on the champion. I generally win more games than I lose on Seraphine.
It used to be 70, but when you were on your hard climb, when you were climbing up, it was really, really high. That's why I was like, why don't you just all in on Seraphine?
This is because I think of the fact that I ran across people who didn't troll me, then they wouldn't give me the resource. It's like I could farm all. I didn't farm official. I still had to fix the farming problem because I was spending more of my time using my abilities to farm lane. But that's beside the point of my the run up to the takeoff I was trying to get to here. Basically, even though I'm playing Seraphine, I'm playing her, but I'm not playing her in the way for the role I'm in. I'm playing her in the role, but I'm not playing her for the role I'm in.
Yes.
And that's like the other problem. Like,
this could tap on before you go too deep. This could tap on the conversation or the topic of like, why is it that people have such a rigid outlook on how they're supposed to play League of Legends? If you hover anything that, and I feel like the lower elo you go, the more detrimental that mentality is. Back when I was like closer to platinum and I was playing with my friends that were like diamond and grandmaster and all that, or masters. I have like one friend that's like grandmaster, but anyway, 2 friends. But when I was playing with my higher range friends, you could literally just lock in anything. Like they just didn't care because they're like, I don't care because I know how good I am at the game and I've played with this before and I understand what it does and I know what I have to do to carry. Like that's a mentality the higher you get. Whereas like the lower you get, people are like, what? You locked in I don't know. Sure. You locked in Seraphine 80 carry. Oh, that means you want to play support because I'm not going to support a Seraphine 80 carry or AP carry. Nah, that's not what we do.
Or they take an AD carry mid lane, and then you take the AD carry mid lane and says, and the enemy you didn't see said, oh, you picked the AD carry mid lane.
Assassin.
Locks in Zed.
Zed LeBlanc. I was thinking LeBlanc. It's like GG. Game's pretty much over at like level 4, and it's one of those things where it's like, why? Because I mean, I watched. There's a YouTuber. His name is Happy Chime Noises, and he's effectively made his entire channel is dedicated to off meta picks that have ascended to the highest MMR, right? And every week he puts out a video, and it's like this Garen Jungle hit Grandmaster, this Master Yi top hit Challenger, this Sejuani 80 carry is the rank 1 on the server. So it's always something that's absolutely ludicrous, but it's showing that like this game doesn't have to be played in such a static and boring and run-of-the-mill way. But again, the lower MMR, the lower elo you go, and I'm gonna be hella all disrespect intended for all you plebs out there that don't have the common sense and understanding of this game. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you directly, James. Yeah, James. Oh, you didn't? Yeah. I'm talking to you. Why are you so brain broken to the extent that you don't understand that you can actually formulate different team strategies and team comps and champion choices and picks that can accelerate in different ways and different without flaming the person that's doing it. Worry about yourself. Get good at the game. Understand that there's more than one way to grow, to skin a cat. Like, that's such a weird saying. I have 2 cats, so that's real awkward. But seriously, there's more than one way to play this game. Like, considering there's 160 champions in the game, there's 5 roles. You could just do the math on how many combinations of one team, let alone 2 teams.
The amount of roles in the roles.
Yeah, exactly. That we just discussed, that you can go down and break down into a sub level, and then on top of that, there are different ways to build champions in the game. Like I think there's like 5 champions in the game that don't have AP ratios. It's like Jin. I think Jin's Q skills with AP actually. It's like Zed. I think Belveth is one, but I'd have to check on her like E or whatever. But it's like there are champions that, like, if you go all in on like their random scaling, so like Jax is hybrid. Actually, I got flamed for playing AP Jax jungle. I was the best player on my team. The rest of my team went 0-100, but they decided to flame me because I was playing Jax jungle, and they're like, "Oh, you blew your lead by building AP Jax," and I was like, I could be faker right now, and I'm not carrying you idiots. At the end of the day, there's literally no way, shape, or form that I can carry the 0-6 top laner, the 0-9, the 1-9 mid laner, the 3-20 bot lane. Just because I'm like 6-1, 9-1 or whatever. Like, I'm trying my best to get you guys leads, but you guys just keep on running under tower to feed them more and more kills. And then you, instead of going, man, I screwed up, I really should have just played safe, or I should have waited till I scaled or hit a power spike. Y'all just go, hey, it's the fed person's fault. The person that was doing the best on our team, his fault. Excuse me, his fault. Or her fault if it's a girl popping off, or their fault if it's the NB or whatever. I don't really care. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, y'all be tripping on some dumb stuff when it comes to people playing this game and carrying you, and your dumb behind is the one that can't care. Like, oh, I just played a game today. Actually, I'm gonna look it up because some knucklehead had the gall to say that it was my fault because I was quote unquote fed and we lost. What's the Ezreal game? I want to say it was the Ezreal game. Oh, yeah. I played an Ezreal game earlier today where my top lane Zyra, I should have dodged. I'm not even going to front. I should have dodged. Or it was yesterday. My top lane Zyra went 3-7. My jungler went 6-11. We had a mid lane Jarvan who's actually popping off. 19, 13, and 9. Could have died less, but I mean, he's playing an all-in champion with an 0-6. Oh, yeah, that was you. But you had 16 assists, which is good. So we were trying our best to win that game. But literally, our top laner and our jungler were doing the most to lose. And then instead of being like, GG, well played, and not saying anything, they were just like, man, I ended the game 9-7. I think it was like 8-4 for like the longest time. But then, of course, the enemy team just had what they needed to. There was another game that I played earlier, I think. Oh, this game where I was on Jin. I was 6-0, but the rest of my team had an average KDA or death of 10. And like no kills. And they were just straight up running it down. And the top laner was a Quinn player that lost the counter matchup where they picked into the Garen and got smoked. Not camped, but smoked by the Garen player, which shouldn't happen if you understand the matchup and you know the matchup when it comes to League of Legends. Quinn wins that matchups 9.9 times out of 10. The 0.1 time, you have to be this Quinn player. That was absolutely god-awful. I know I'm going on a super long tangent about players not taking accountability.
That was my knowledge game.
Yeah, I'm saying players not taking accountability for when they perform poorly. But at the end of the day, if I had locked in, I don't know, Lux AP carry, instead of... Because, I mean, they flame me for being 6-0 on Jin in a matchup that I had no chance of winning. Now, if I had been on AP Lux, they would have been like, GG... 80 carry picks Lux, can't win, GG. And it's like, did the Lux pick make you die 7 times in lane?
No.
Did the Lux pick make you
Uh,
face check brushes and die time and time again and lose the game single handedly for the entire team? Did the Lux pick make you run into the enemy tower trying to get a kill and get yourself smoked because you're dumb and you don't understand your own power spikes? No. Lux pick didn't do that. And again, I didn't pick Lux game, but that's the thing that people fall back on. When you play Seraphine, they're like, GG, Seraphine, AP carry, on a Camille on a Camille that's 1 in 15. How did the Seraphine pick make you die 15 times? How, Sway? How? Answer me. Riddle me this, Batman.
yeah.
How?
And then like as people caught on, people accepted it, but then I see like it still get the center support, or I still get like the center support behind me, and then the center gets fed, and everybody else is getting kill gold. I'm getting assist gold, but if I'm not farming too well, or we just like we have in a couple of our games when they send the whole house after us.
I mean, we're doing
Twice.
a better job of surviving though. I think we're just getting better at like being like, oh, the pressure is coming. I think that comes with us warding better. That comes with us reading the map and understanding rotations better. So like 5 years ago, it would have been like, oh no, we're getting ganked, we're dying. Now it's more like, oh, we're about to get ganked. Okay, and then one of us generally makes it out, or both of us make it out. You know what I mean? Not all the time, not all the time, because we're not like
So,
perfect. We're not pro players. We're not high
somehow,
elo.
somehow I make the either make the is it the greatest escape or the greatest stall in the world. Where
Yeah.
it's like I pretty much die out, but because I died stalling them out, the rest of the team like, hey, you burned everything on me, the guy who went invulnerable for 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's about that time again.
Yeah. So I mean, like again, people need to be able to take accountability, and I think because of the anonymity of being online, people they can't take accountability in their own actual day-to-day lives, so they get on a video game and they take even less accountability. If you die 15 times in a video game, and again, the real problem is this isn't like Call of Duty, this isn't like CS:GO or whatever, where if you die it fundamentally doesn't matter because you're not empowering the other team, you're not giving the other team perks and buffs and levels and stats and all this other stuff. Where in League of Legends, if you die, you're giving them money. You're losing they're gaining experience as you're stagnating with experience. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you die one time, it might not be a big deal. It's what 300, 400 gold and like a little bit of a XP disparity. But that could be enough to if you're a good enough player versus a bad enough player or dumb enough player to completely change the way that lane was going to go. Like when we played that game where I was on Kaisa and you were on, I want to say it was probably Nautilus. I think we ended up winning, but yeah, we did end up winning, but it was tough because I at the end I had to like super run it down so that way we could actually kill the Nexus. But we started off that game. The game plan was we need to shut down this misfortune, and then we fed her 4 kills.
Guilty. Guilty.
Right? So it's like now if somebody wanted to flame us, like how'd you lose this matchup? I can at least have the wherewithal to go, oh, we lost this matchup because uh we played super aggressively in the early game. I may have gotten a kill but we were punished because I was killed instead of the AD carry being killed. The support died for the AD carry, which in most parts for AD carry matchups is always a win for the AD that survives, right? And then I think we had a bad gank. Yeah, we had a bad gank, and then we both died later on. So she started off the game 4-0, and I started off the game like 1-2 or something like that. But because having a better understanding of the game, understanding that I can't bash my head against the wall against this character who's now so much more demonstrably stronger than me. She came back with a finished item. She came back with her finished item at like 8 minutes or something. Like we should have lost that game, but because we had a better understanding of how to team fight, where to be, how to control our team, and we didn't flame. We didn't get into the chatting where we're typing and being like, "Oh yeah, well if the jungler had come down more, yeah, the jungler's fault, jungle diff. Oh yeah, mid lane is also losing." Like we just took the accountability. We understood what we needed to do. We strapped in. We knew it was going to be a bumpy ride, and we rode it out. And we got the dub. People just can't do that. People don't have the mental capacity or the wherewithal to go, all right, yeah, I dropped the ball. I shouldn't have died 15 times. What can I do? Most people, you'll be like, hey, top lane, you're getting clapped. You should build a defensive item. Oh yeah, well you died 3 times and you didn't come to the team fight, so this game is actually your fault, bro. I haven't died yet. You don't know how to read. My KDA says like 7-0. I don't know what to tell you, my G. You're literally just making stuff up at this point. Like you could just use the actual facts of life that are right in front of you, but instead you're just making stuff up. Also, in that Jin game, you built a Thornmail. You really didn't need to build a Thornmail. I just have it up, by the way. You didn't need to build a Thornmail. Like MF is healing, but not healing. But she's the only one that has like crazy amounts of healing. And Seraphine's W is really more for what the shield and the movement speed than it is for the healing, because she generally isn't using it with a double stack. She's using her double stack on her E. But regardless, that's probably something I would look at. Like, why are you building Thornmail? Because it's like that's like when people again build like Sunfire in a solo from the support range. You got to think more of like, how do I help my team? If they had like a Trundle and an Aatrox and Misfortune was full lifesteal, then you probably should have said, okay, I need to get the anti heal. Or if anything, you probably just should have sat on the brambles and finish your boots. You didn't even finish your boots that game. Like that's kind of insane. But that's a tangent and sidetrack. We'll get into coaching Ian after we wrap up this video. But yeah, like understand that there are so many different ways to play this game. You have to understand that it's not like there's no cookie cutter bread and butter way to win, or else this game probably would be dead and gone eons ago. Straight up. The variance and creativity that League of Legends has is what keeps it thriving and alive.
Because it changes every 2 weeks.
It does. And I think
also the other thing is that, and it goes back to it, the cookie cutter comes back from like the simple form, almost comes back to a simple formula. Like again, this is where like NA again is the for fun region. A lot of that stuff is copy and paste. Like you may get some variants, but you know what's going on. But to steal the phrase, League is a game. League is a video game that. League is the video game version of capitalism. Why everyone else is sitting here trying to out because you're still trying to figure out what X is. Meanwhile, we're still trying to find a derivative to the first problem we had.
I think the best way to do that is the League. I don't know if League still uses this tagline, but a super long time ago, League used to be the game that was easy to play, difficult to master. I don't know if they still use that tagline, but it was really, and I mean that's essentially what at the end of the day it still is, because there's so much minutia, nitty gritty, like a flash Q interaction, or if you buffer an input for this, you can still get a attack off, or if you do this and you flash, the attack still follows through and you still end up dying, or spell casting, utilizing a combination of spells. There's so much that can make this game difficult to master. But at the end of the day, it's an objective game, and you'd be surprised how many people focus on running up the kill count, and the score just to lose because they never got a dragon, they never attacked a tower, they never hit the nexus, and they lost. Be up 20 kills. In theory, those 20 kills should give you enough gold to win every single fight. But if you're just not focused on objective and you have one person, we've all been in those games, your team is running around chasing somebody all over the map, and Tryndamere, Yorick, Scion are just split pushing at a lane. They have your inhibitor. Now you have to send somebody back to defend the inhibitor, and they get clapped or bodied by like the assassin player or something. Now it's a 4v5 on the map. That team goes and gets Baron. They still might be down 20 kills, but they're playing the map game, an objective based game in an objective game, right? They're playing the objective game in an objective based game, and they're winning out. Whereas you still want to play Call of Duty, you still want to play KDA chasers and lose a game, and then be upset that you lost.
That happened today. I was literally telling him why are you chasing when we have this? Like it's like we still want to win in the game, but what scared me was the fact that we went for this objective. We went to fight for a dragon when we could have got a baron, and then the time we had to try to get a baron, the call was right, but didn't have the people who need to do the baron on. So you're sitting here like, what are you trying to do? And then we wound up losing because we didn't have push. Like our team was up kills. They keep fighting and fighting and fighting, but we're not farming and farming and farming. And then next thing you know, we don't have no pressure. We didn't take a single outer tower in 25 minutes of the game, and we were up kills. And you sit here, and as you said, as I'm fussing at them, and they just not paying me. No, never mind.
Yeah, it sucks.
But yes, but then I lose to get sent back down, right back to where I started, and then because I'm losing more LP than I win. I get frustrated and then not trusting what got me to the dance, which is the other pro tip that from the School of King will tell you: stick. Stick what you got you to the dance. When it comes to solo queue, if you want to venture out and practice games or normal games, do that. But stick to your guns. Don't play yourself. Because when you play yourself in League of Legends, you get games where you think you're doing the right thing and you wind up losing. You giving away free games, and the free games they mess up your MMR to put you with toilet people, and then the toilet people ruin your next. The toilet people then ruin your next set of games, and now next thing you know you're wondering, why am I now in iron?
Beware the toilet people. I'm gonna make that a shirt. All right, we're gonna close up on that one because we could literally go on about all the grievances and feel of the state of the game of League of Legends. If you enjoyed this video, please again feel free to hit the like button, comment your experiences during the game. We'd love to hear them so we can discuss them on the next video. Likewise, after this we're gonna probably play a game or two on twitch.tv/call_me_king. That's twitch.tv/call_me_king. You can come through, hang out, hang out with the chat and see what's pop-a-lock and crack-a-lock. With that being said, my name's King.
This is Ian. This is Ian White here with my man King. Just remember, be kind. Is it volunteer? Be kind to people. And all. Is it?
I think you're trying to do my outro.
No, I'm not
trying.
doing an outro.
Yes, you are. So it'd be so the old outro was be kind to one another. If you can, volunteer at your local animal shelter. This is originally during COVID, so guidance permitting. But now that we're like out of it, so I'm sure you can just pull up to your local SPCA or whatever and take the cats. Give the cats head pats and walk the doggos. If you can, donate time to your local veterans shelter to give back a little to those that gave so much for us.
And just sit down and listen to the stories because some of the
stories,
they got some good stories.
And in the meantime, we'll catch you on the flip side. We're outie 5000.